Hello, dear viewers, and welcome to a new episode of Games and Names. Our sport for this episode is the sport of judo, and our featured star guest is Captain Ihab Tahir, who is a judo coach. So let's get to know more about judo here in Egypt and about Coach Tahir in the upcoming minutes of Games and Names.
Judo was created as a physical, mental, and moral pedagogy in Japan in 1882 by Jigoro Kano. It is generally categorized as a modern martial art which later evolved into a combat and Olympic sport. Its most prominent feature is its competitive element, where the objective is to either throw or take down an opponent to the ground, immobilize or otherwise subdue an opponent with a pin, or force an opponent to submit with a joint lock or a choke. Strikes and thrusts by hands and feet, as well as weapons defenses, are a part of judo, but only in pre-arranged forms, kata, and are not allowed in judo competition or free practice randori. The judo practitioner is called a judoka. The philosophy and subsequent pedagogy developed for judo became the model for other modern Japanese martial arts that developed from Koryo. Contest is a vitally important aspect of judo. In 1899, Kano was asked to chair a committee of the Dai Nippon Butoku Kai to draw up the first format set of contest rules for Jiu-Jitsu. These rules were intended to cover contests between different various traditional schools of Jiu-Jitsu as well as practitioners of Korokan Judo. Contests were 15 minutes long and were judged on the basis of Nade Waza and Katami Waza, excluding Atemi Waza. Wins were by 2 ippons awarded in every 4 main different path of winning alternatives: by throwing, where the opponent's back strikes flat onto the mat with a sufficient force, by pinning them on their back for a sufficient amount of time, or by submission, which could be achieved by a shimiwaza or a kansito waza, in which an opponent is forced to give himself or herself up or summon a referee's or corner judge's stoppage.
اسمي كابتن إيهاب مصطفى طاهر.
My name is Ihab Mustafa Tahir. I started playing judo while I was only 5 years of age. I'm now 29. I have won the national championship in the sport of judo on multiple occasions. I've also finished top of the Arab and African competitions. I've also taken part in the military games in the sport of judo. And I have participated several times with the national team of Egypt, but wasn't for a long period of time. By the way, I also practice another combat sport, and that is the sport of wrestling, where I was also successful in gathering medals. I love judo more than any other sport because I believe it teaches you a lot of things in life. It teaches you how to control yourself, how to be calm, how to have a peace of mind. It is really a way of life. In a game of judo, you have 2 contestants, one with a white suit and the other with a blue one. The komikata is named after the way you hold your opponent's jacket or uniform or suit. And many believe that the komikata, how to hold your opponent's uniform, is the main element as far as success is concerned. You can win a judo match via several methods: by scoring an ippon, which is the highest score in our sport, and that is when you get your opponent thrown quickly and strongly on the mat, and you hold him fixed on his back and shoulder. Or you can get 2 wazaris if you hold your opponent for 10 seconds. This is calculated as a wazari. Two wazaris are equivalent to an epon. And there is also a 20-second fix to the ground of your opponent, which can be considered an epon. That's according, of course, to the main judge and the referees and umpires around the mat. You can also win if you get your opponent disqualified by three yellow cards if he or she makes three unlawful moves or for unsportsmanlike conduct where the athlete can be red carded right away. You can also win via stranglehold and surrender.
طريقة التدريب بتتمسك بص في بداية الموسم.
Exercises and training sessions differ according to the time of the year we do it in. For instance, at the beginning of the season, we focus more on fitness, on gym activities, on track and field, running, swimming, sauna, breath techniques, power techniques, and you name it. And then, of course, throughout the course of the season, we practice skill moves and technique. Technique is always there. And right before the official tournaments, we play a lot of friendlies and we focus alongside technique on tactics and, of course, on psychological preparedness. I believe that keys to success in judo include wit, speedy reflexes, technique, tactics, and of course, a lot of training, exercise sessions, and preparation. Our sport really doesn't depend on strength or muscle strength that might surprise you, but it rather depends on mass according to the weight the athlete plays in, and according to agility, speed, technique, power, tactics, and wit. Um, and you know, in our sport, we always say that the smartest always wins, and the smartest is the one that uses his or her opponent's strength to his or her advantage.
كيفية اختيار اللاعبين دي.
We don't start inviting players to the national team until they reach the age of 17, at least 17. And then, of course, to select the player that is going to represent your country in international competitions, we focus mainly on those who achieve the top positions, especially the gold medals in national championships. But we also can get those who get the silver and bronze medals to the final preparatory qualifying session at the Olympic Center in Maadi. And also, if there is a talented player who does not achieve a high score and a high position in national championships if the coaches and the experts believe that he was unlucky for losing early in the national championship, or maybe he didn't participate in the championship at all because of an injury, or because of academics or any other reason. Uh, uh, these types of athletes also get invited to the Olympic Center, and they qualify. They go into playoffs alongside those who get the gold, silver, and bronze medal positions in the national championship. And then after weeks and sometimes months of exercising together and training together, these players face off against each other and play against each other more than once. And so by then it becomes very easy to select the top player in the specific weight category. Drop it like that.
هي بتبدا مرحله في كل الانديه بيبقى عامل حاجه اسمها مدارس.
We start coaching the youngsters at a very young age in the school of judo. Usually, it takes from 6 months to 1 year to learn the basics of judo, and we prefer that youngsters start at the age of 5, like I did. But of course, you can start after that and still be a successful judo athlete. Now, after getting into the or graduating from the school of judo, we start some belt exams, and we get the youngsters to play in the teams, in team judo, and we focus mainly on defense tactics as the main skill for youngsters before they learn the offensive skills later on. Now, championships for youngsters start at the age of 10, both for boys and girls. Before that, they just play the showy or demonstration part of judo, the kata, the non combat part, where you might have as many as 30 athletes together in the court and all move in a synchronized manner. They make you feel like they are one. The youngsters get to play in the Cairo, Giza, and other provincial tournaments before they play in national championships. And of course, by the age of 17, and not before the age of 17, we start thinking of these youth as potential national team players. The most dominant country in the sport of judo is, of course, Japan. The origin of the sport. You know, judo is very popular in Japan. It is the number one sport there, just like football here in Egypt and in many parts of the world. You can find judo matches and practice in almost every street in Japan, in almost every house. Of course, sumo is also very popular there. After Japan, um, Russia is also a force in the sport of judo. So is France. And I believe that we here in Egypt come fourth after the Japanese, the Russians, and the French. Um, and of course, uh, a major part of that success for Egypt in judo is the iconic legend Muhammad Rashwan, the hero of the sport globally, not just for what he did on the mat, but outside of the mat, the great Muhammad Rashwan. In many instances before championships, the players that are going to represent Egypt in these championships get to enjoy foreign training camps in countries such as Bulgaria, Japan, France, and others, and get to play a lot of friendly matches there. Sometimes these top international teams come here to Egypt and practice with us, and this, of course, elevate the level and skill of our players, no doubt about that. Now, my personal goal is to be a coach of the national team one day and to write for myself a successful chapter in coaching the national team, just like the case used to be whilst I was a player.